We're green. We're going. We're recording. Ah, busy day. Trying to juggle tech stuff at the same time. It's that time of year. You know how it goes.
Yeah. At least you're not being beholden to certain bullshit rules by a certain company.
I mean, I'm doing tax paperwork. I am technically beholden to certain rules. That's like the job. But I get what you mean.
Well, it's the state of company.
I mean, like, the tax laws are tax laws. There's no going around it. It's just, you're not dealing with tax laws on top of bullshit company rules.
Some might say that could be one and the same. I get what you mean. I'm being cute about it, but I get it. All right. Okay, so back for another podcast. I'm trying to go over some stuff we've been wanting to talk about the last couple months. Asher, you mentioned a state of play that happened sometime earlier today for PlayStation, but I don't even know who was announced. I haven't seen anything about it. Like, nothing's come up my feed about it.
I didn't even have time to watch it because I was busy doing something during my work, and apparently it started at 3 p.m. It ended at 5.
That's long. Oh, that's a long one.
Yeah.
Well, either that or they had delays in it.
As far as I can tell, I think I have a copy of the video somewhere.
It might be worth recovering the highlights at some point then.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Like, watching the full thing on our own time, that's fine, but bringing up a highlight
would
probably be best if we want to talk about it right now, which we may want to. Admittedly, looking at the screen thing you have, there's already one game that got announced, I'm pretty sure, during that time.
Oh, I didn't even see. Okay, which one? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, Belmont's Curse.
Because I don't think anything with Roman Reigns has been announced.
None of these are Roman Reigns.
I know. That's really where it shows where his career is.
It's because I watch the other wrestling company. I don't watch WWE. That's why there's nothing of that here. Okay. So I guess we could talk about that at some point.
I mean, like, there's also the whole thing of me and Metroid Prime 4.
Oh yeah, let's start with that. Give us the Metroid Prime 4 update of the week.
Okay, so I have gotten confirmation that I was literally sitting on the doorstep of the final dungeon, if you could call it that.
Like the last explorer area?
The final area is basically a hallway to the final boss. I haven't done it yet, but I already know who the final boss is.
After a long...
But, so, I'm going to say something that you'll probably go like, well, why?
Okay.
This is not a Metroid, this is not a Metroid game.
No,
it is still a Nintendo game, but it is not Metroid. You want to know what type of game it is?
What kind of game is it?
It's a Zelda game.
Is it?
It is a Zelda game through and through because it is quite literally... You get a tool to use either in the dungeon or in the next part of the dungeon. And then you hardly use it anywhere else.
Yeah, but that's like the worst kind of Zeldas.
Yeah. Other things is the factor that, and I'm pretty sure some of this influence came from quite literally the director, aka the Nintendo liaison to Retro Studios, who was Kensuke Tanabe, who is kind of infamous in Nintendo circles.
For what? For what exactly?
He is infamous in bringing very good ideas, but also potentially killing, and in one instance, actively killing an IP of Nintendo's.
Which one? I can't even think of what that could be.
Well, it can't be Kirby.
It's Chibi Robo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't. Okay. I wouldn't have guessed that if you
Uh,
gave me 100 guesses.
No, unless you knew about Chibi Robo, you would not have guessed it at all. But he did kind of almost kill Pikmin.
Oh, okay. That's a big deal.
But the other thing is that he was also the guy behind the huge iconic giant egg in Link's Awakening.
Oh.
Yeah, he's the guy that suggests, oh, hey, let's have it like the final dungeon be an egg on top of a mountain that holds it. That's his idea.
Uh huh.
Um, obviously there was the interview that happened recently that came forward that basically when they started development, obviously the biggest influence for Metroid Prime 4, uh, that was basically coloring Kensuke Tanabe's direction with this, was a Zelda game. 2017. You should be able to easily guess it.
There's only so many Zelda games.
What was the big one in 2017?
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
Okay. Sorry, I thought I didn't know you were asking. So I thought that was you're asking a rhetorical question.
Well, I'm just making sure for clarification's sakes. Uh, Another thing, and this is actually one of the big things that is kind of peeving off the Metroid fans, is the factor that Kensuke Tanabe has this weird infatuation with the Federation.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, who we're seeing right now is currently the biggest offender, Miles McKenzie. Because he is the stereotypical Marvel movie techie nerd with quips. He's also your Navi.
Okay, and that's a problem. Why?
It's not necessarily. It's a
First of
problem.
all, okay, this entire cutscene you've seen so far
Mm-hmm.
is not representative of the game.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's
Yeah.
talks throughout this entire segment. Like, people would actually want to have an ability to mute him. You can't.
The other factor is that half the time he will immediately pop up while you're in the middle of the desert driving around on the motorcycle, which, weirdly enough, is actually was kind of okay. It wasn't a problem for me, but it was just kind of like, I'll use it because it's here and it's quick. Is that, as stated, because he's Navi, he literally will chime in immediately, go, "Hey Samus, why don't you go to XXX location? There might be something there." Unprompted, and you cannot skip his dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
I tuned him out fairly quickly, but that's because I'm used to tuning out certain things due to real life experiences.
Sure.
But it's one of those things of like, it would have been nice to have an option to like lessen or, hey, press this button to get a hint from him, instead of him just unprompted immediately putting his 2 cents in. Other aspects. Yes, there are other Federation characters, some of which I actually do kind of like, but this being a Metroid game, it kind of affects that whole atmosphere of loneliness or isolation. You do get it in weird pockets, but when one of the items you need to beat the game, you literally have to find one of these people out in the middle of the desert to get it from him.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people like that feeling of isolation or loneliness in the Metroid games. It's kind of considered part of its identity.
Is it? I mean, I'll take your word for it,
Yeah.
but I would never have associated that with the Metroid series.
Yeah.
Now, consider how little dialogue actually happens in any of the classic
Super
Metroids
Metroid.
or even the first few Prime games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Prime, while we technically had a hint system, similar to Mackenzie, it had things in place that you could turn it completely off or lessen the interaction it had with it. But so, and here's the sad thing is like every dungeon you have to do the equivalent of an escort quest
Mm-hmm.
with these characters. And admittedly, like some of them are kind of stereotypical, like stranded uh, military types. We have the nerdy engineer, which is Miles. We have veteran, uh, the veteran sergeant and his rookie private duo. We have the spiritualist sniper of all things. And then, kind of unique to the whole, future sci-fi thing is the robot, who, weirdly enough, actually does kind of have a bit of a personality to him
Mm-hmm.
when you finally meet him. But, uh, my thoughts about it is these are cool characters, and if I was playing not as somebody other than Samus, like a nameless uh Federation trooper, I might be more endearing with these people. But I'm playing Samus fucking Ram. I am a walking disaster to planets. Other things are the various aspects like lore implications, because this is another a lot of these are kind of pet peeves. But some of the more egregious things are every single ability gets replaced with this whole psychic version. It's not a augmentation of her normal suit, it's a replacement of her tech. Lore-wise is the fact that technically the Chozo power suit is contains basically a good chunk of Chozo tech that is basically considered a pinnacle of their tech.
Mm-hmm.
Quite literally, the power suit has the ability to auto-translate any language it encounters, can adapt technology to replace its missing components if they get broken or damaged.
Mm-hmm.
It regenerates. It also can adapt technology to it if given enough information to it. This is why things like Samus bumping her head and losing all her tech and getting it back throughout the games is kind of how it's treated, is that basically it's the Chozo suit adapting local tech to restore the lost functionality.
Mm-hmm.
But in lore-wise, this one on the planet, we get embedded with a psychic crystal, which changes our power beam to the psychic beam.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get the psychic lasso, and the psychic. It it just came to me. It's like this. Why? We already had designated terms. Um, it's no longer the scan visor. It's the psychic visor. Ugh. Other aspects about it is that there are certain things that aren't clearly explained, because there were a couple of boss fights that I absolutely got annoyed at,
Mm-hmm.
because they expect you, if you see the number 3, you need to use the special charge beam ability to do the whole like aimed shot thing. And I it was like a 20-minute long boss battle that I got stuck in going like, why can I not damage this guy? It's like, Wait, there's 3 of them. Am I supposed to use this ability here? There are some good, so not to sound bad, like harp on it. It's not a bad game. It's decent, and knowing some people, this is probably their very first Metroid Prime game.
Mm-hmm.
It's short, sweet. Well, I will not say it doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't give you a lot to explore. It does not have that exploration aspect that I love in Metroid games, especially the Prime games. Some of the nice things about it is that they've actually, they actually included something that kind of addressed to some people the whole thing that they hate about Metroid is backtracking.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel is technically part of the exploration, is coming back to an area and going, hey, I know I couldn't do this before, but now I can. Let's see
Mm-hmm.
what this does. And
I
then it
agree with
opens
that.
up another section.
Right.
There's not a lot of that here, but they included when you get the final beam. That's I don't want to go back to being nasty, but that's another thing that I'll have to bring up. But when you get the final beam, which is essentially the wave beam, or as they've been calling it, the elect shot, you gain the ability to activate a drone in each area that allows it to basically put where items are on the map, so that you can go back and get every item that you missed in an area.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that some people have stated that they really would have liked in other Metroid games. Kind of going back to the let's be grumps about thing, is that the whole renaming of everything to psychic, blah blah blah. The beam weapons are back, but it's not wave beam, ice beam, or plasma.
Mm-hmm.
It's fire shot, ice shot, and elect shot. They do the exact same things as their actual counterparts, but they don't use the standard naming scheme.
You forgot that instead of equipping it immediately, you have to bring it back.
That's the next part, is that any upgrades you get,
Mm-hmm.
a majority of them you either have to go back to the elect tower or Miles for him to decipher and then adjust it for your use.
Mm-hmm.
Leading back to the whole thing of, why can't Samus just shove it into her arm cannon and have the Chozo Tech do it? And apparently it's possible that some of these design decisions were done at the insistence of Kensuke Tanabe, like the open world aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to some of the other things, visuals. The actual visuals are stunning in this game. I will say that it is a very beautiful game. It does capture some of those really interesting vistas or looks to them. I will argue that Lemorne architecture is a lot of sweeping curves and a bit of Geiger-esque architecture to it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, eh? Others is the factor that all of the bosses are basically Metroid infected monsters.
Mm-hmm.
That's not part of like a Metroid's tool like power set. Metroids don't absorb into creatures. But then again, it's much more of like these maybe not proper Metroids. These maybe artificial Metroids
Mm-hmm.
that Psylux from Metroid Prime Hunters, the DS game,
All right.
brought in. So yes, Psylux is our big bad of the game. You fight him multiple times, and he's annoying. And when you're trying to get the wave shot, I refuse to call it the elect shot. I'm gonna call it the wave beam. Um, the game is beautiful. Some of the bosses are really, really great. I liked some of them. Then there's others like the whole motorcycle boss, the motorcycle overworld boss. That's like, oh, hello, Boost Guardian. I thought I never had to see you again.
I don't think I know about the
Um,
Boost Guardian. That doesn't ring up any bells for me.
so Kensuke Tanabe did work in other Prime games.
Mm-hmm.
Some of what, and this is why I put him in the infamous, is that he's done good and bad. And one of his biggest strengths was designing boss fights for games.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is known that the Boost Guardian from Metroid Prime 2 was his. He thought it was the best thing ever. People, including myself, have a very vivid hatred of that boss. Because in the original GameCube game, it you had to do a lot of button presses all at once on the game controller to damage it,
Mm-hmm.
and they were not simple. And then when you get the Wii collection, the boost boss was trivialized by motion controls.
Huh. Nice.
So, do I hate this game? I am not. I do not hate it. I am disappointed. Retro did the best that they could with the team that they had to assemble, and I feel like they did take a lot of resources from the Metroid Prime remaster that they from that game into this game to a degree. Um, Obviously, it's the whole thing of like a game in development for 8+ years, three of which into 3 years in, they had to basically start over from scratch
Mm-hmm.
and only use some resources because the original studio, which apparently, uh, and it has been confirmed, Bandai Namco was helping Nintendo on it. And apparently, the studio that Bandai Namco put in charge of that one was not doing a good job.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
so you will
I
never
remember.
know.
I remember hearing reports about that. I mean, not the
Yeah.
Bandai
So you
Namco
will,
part, but whether they were doing a good job or not.
yeah. Um, Obviously, it leads into the whole thing of a game that's been in for so long. Uh, there's always going to be it's going to be a either really good or really bad. I'm I've got a lot of things to say about it. Lore, gameplay wise, I played on a Switch Pro controller because I don't have a Switch 2, so I
Mhm.
don't know about the mouse mode.
I heard that it
Um,
doesn't do any good. I think I saw some YouTube news channel I follow was mentioned that it wasn't very helpful.
the ones that I followed after I actually finally got my game, which that's its own ordeal. um, the ones that I follow said that it's nice, but at times it really cramps it. One person even said that they couldn't handle it for any amount of time because it started to cramp their hand up because
Yeah, that makes sense given the look of that mouse.
the mouse did not feel any way ergonomic. Um, some people say that like it's best to use a basically a Pro controller or Pro 2 controller, depending on which system you owned,
Right.
and enable a certain setting on there, which basically emulated the Metroid Prime remaster setup. Is this going to kill Metroid? No. I know that a couple weeks back there was the whole like Nintendo investor meeting that they shared off some of the details of their highest grossing games, and one tweet was like, here's all the games that did over 1 million sold over 1 million copies for Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
The wording on there is very specific. And Metroid Prime 4 was not on there. This put people going like, oh, if it didn't sell 1 million copies, is this the end of Metroid in general? And it's like, they said Switch 2 games. They did not, which means that they probably did not qualify the Switch 1 versions of the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. Given this statement.
Yeah. And basically that means like anything that says like Nintendo Switch 2 edition or Nintendo Switch 2, those ones were counted in that. And the digital sales on Switch 2. Nintendo did come back and said, yeah, Metroid combined sales for Metroid Prime 4 for Switch 1 and 2 were, I think they said 1.2 or 1.3 million copies. Which, hey, that's pretty good. That, admittedly, that's actually kind of standard for Metroid based off of history and such. It wasn't like Metroid Dread numbers, which, holy shit, Dread. But to me, that tells me that, hey, Metroid Prime is not in the vault yet. But it is definitely going to be one of those situations of Nintendo is probably going to shelve it for a bit before they try and figure out who to go to or what to do for the next Metroid Prime game. Because I've got a feeling that Mercury Stream, the developers behind Samus Returns and Metroid Dread, are probably working on the next Metroid 2D Metroid, aka side-scrolling. Or at least coming up with good concepts to pitch to Nintendo.
Yeah, like you said, Dread did really well, so yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. So from my perspective, Metroid is not dead. It's just it's not going to be like they're not going to try and rush more Metroid games out. But I think they're going to hold off and maybe get some feedback from various players or the studio like Mercury Stream on how would they want to proceed, like what would they recommend for Metroid going forward. As such, am I going to recommend this game? Even as a Metroid fan, I have a hard time recommending this to other Metroid fans. If you're a diehard, you kind of have to play it because it takes place. Weirdly, they've actually put this on the timeline. It is after Super, but before the events of Fusion.
Okay.
Whereas Dread is directly after Fusion.
Okay. How does that? I mean, I guess we could spend all day asking why that, what the implications of the ordering are, but.
In this case, the whole thing of the Metroid timeline is to basically give you an idea of what to expect of Samus, because Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 were supposed to take place between Metroid 1 and Metroid 2. Obviously 2 is Samus Return, Return of Samus, aka the Game Boy game or the 3DS game that got remastered and caused some people to have some issues because of the whole AM2R incident. But then, like, from 2, we then have 3, which is Super Metroid. From Super Metroid, we then have Metroid Prime 4. And then from that one, we'd have Fusion and / or Other M.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, it's like 4, Metroid Prime 4, then Other M, then Fusion, then Dread.
Okay.
Swap 4 and Other M.
Okay.
As much as I... yes, I did play Other M. Did I actually like the game? I liked the gameplay. I did not like the plot. Because that one is a different reason why I don't like it, and I don't like a certain person's perspective on the Metroid series, because that was not Kensuke Tanabe in charge of that. That was oh god, the other idiot that claims he was the one that made Metroid, and he was much more of the art director from 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And not the guy that actually the original creator of Metroid.
Is that guy still around?
Yes.
Okay, just wasn't sure.
Well,
go ahead, MPX.
I was wondering whether you were asking for the original creator of Metroid or the sound guy.
Creator.
The original creator, I believe, was Gunpei Yokoi, who I know he's no
for years, decades actually.
He's been, yeah. Gunpei, and there's the story behind Gunpei Yokoi and everything that he did for Nintendo and how he got settled with the biggest failure Nintendo ever did, and now we're selling a plastic case mock-up of the failure, and it's selling like hotcakes.
Love that. I love that.
Yeah. But no, I'm talking about the guy that took up some of the stuff that Gunpei Yokoi did after it, but he was basically just an art guy from 1 and 2.
Okay.
So
did you finish this game?
But
have you finished it yet?
I am sitting on the final boss. I am like sitting there like, I don't want to do this. I really don't. I should. As well as their speaking of, there was also in the same time of the whole interview with Kensuke Tanabe, there was this incident that kind of potentially put Metroid Prime fans in a bit of a, well, if this is how they're going to go forward, it's okay that we'll finally be able to play it, but it's sad. Which was the ad for a future ad for Walmart was put up that basically showcasing various Nintendo online games for the virtual console thing, and there were 2 games shown that were not that had not been announced, nor had they been but they weren't essentially people were taking it as gospel that, oh, these games were going to be coming, and that was Pikmin, I believe Pikmin 2 specifically, and Metroid Prime 2 Echoes to be on the Nintendo Online for Switch 2. Nintendo has stated that this was sent erroneously because they're currently no plans to put Metroid Prime or Pikmin 2 on the GameCube Virtual Console for Switch 2. And this puts Metroid Prime fans in a bit of a thing, because that gives us back the hope that, hey, we might get a Metroid Prime 2 remaster along with 3, or they may put Metroid Prime 2 Echoes on the Virtual Console anyway. Either way, it allows us to play Metroid Prime 2 again. Which, to me, that's
good.
a win-win.
Yeah.
If they don't do either of those,
That's
I
what
still
sucks.
technically have my copy, but it still sucks, because that means people can't play one of the greats of the Metroid Prime games. I'm not going to give it a numerical thing, because it's this weird love-hate relationship that I have with the game, because there are moments that I absolutely loved and hated in the game, because like like all the dungeons are linear hallways, and I hate that. Heck, one was a giant huge mine shaft that was, the entire thing was basically an escort quest. I did not like that one, because it's like, oh great, I'm being assaulted by these horrible monsters this entire time, and I can't explore or check anything because they're constantly there. Probably the last thing I'll mention is that there are kind of upgrades in the game related to the whole desert thing, where you have to smash giant huge green crystals.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them felt really cool. Some of them, like one upgrade was the actual just a upgrade to the base power beam,
Uh-huh.
which, heck yeah, it's been a while. Like Metroid Prime never does upgrades to, technically at least, not forward-facing versions of the base power beam. But the final upgrade was, oh hey, you get this special suit. It's like, okay, great. What does it do? You can spend 35 missiles to gain a barrier. And that's what clicked it into my head of, this isn't a Metroid game, this is a Zelda game. Because, hello, Magic Armor, it's been a while since I saw you. Wind Waker, right? No.
I already
Twilight
remember.
Princess.
It's been a while since I barely remember.
The Magic Armor has been a fun little item for Zelda games, in the fact that it's basically, you equip it, it eats your rupees, but it either makes you invincible or it severely reduces damage.
Okay.
And lasts as long as
I don't
you
know if I
have
got
rupees.
that. I don't know if I remember picking that up in Twilight Princess. Not that I'm saying it's not there. I'm just saying I don't think I remember picking it up.
That one you had to do a specific series of quests with Malomart.
Okay.
I did do that.
I don't see why I wouldn't have done that, but I don't remember doing it.
Yeah. I know I did it for Wind Waker, because that was the trading quest for that one. It's like, I've spent how long on this? 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's kind of put a cap on this. It's like, overall, I'm not saying it's a bad game, but it is 6. It is definitely in that area of, it's just above mid-range for me, that it's like I can find enjoyment, but it is going to be sitting on the shelf collecting dust after I actively complete the game.
All right.
So,
Okay.
other topics.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah. I got nothing to say. I haven't played the game, so I don't really have an opinion that would matter when it comes to this.
And I don't think you want to play the game either, Eddie.
I mean, I'll probably pick it up eventually. If anything,
I can loan you my copy.
If this, yeah, and then I'll keep it for a year and a half. at this point, I might want to play just to see why everyone's bitching about it. So it'll be going from I want to play a Metroid game to why is everyone bitching about this game. So that
As a heads up, Eddie, the copy I got is a Switch 2 edition, which, yes, does work in a Switch 1 copy,
uh,
but if we put it in your Switch 2, it'll have all the Switch 2 stuff to it.
okay. Well,
So
that's incentivizing. So yeah, well, I'll have to think about that at some point, eventually.
on stream.
That might be
No,
the
let's
that the setup for that is so whack. So otherwise, I wouldn't mind. But yeah,
I don't want to. I already made my huge suggestion, which was Stellar Blade. Having you play this for stream is like, oh no, I don't want Eddie to be subjected to this game. No. If I was going to force you to play a Switch game on stream that's a Metroid, I'd probably force you to play Dread.
Oh yeah, Dread sounds like a good time. I haven't picked that one up yet either.
I played through it for stream.
I just have such a large backlog that like I've been hesitant to buy new Nintendo games. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like I haven't even bought Brothership, and that was like I want to play that more than any other game, but I haven't bought it yet.
Ooh.
So yeah, one of these days. Okay. Other topics. The other thing I wanted to bring up. Well, there's like two topics in one. I wanted to bring up because it kind of has to do with like Western influence in anime, kind of mixing in together. One where there's rejection and one where there's perhaps too much of a merger, depending on who you ask. But okay, so the first thing here, I probably should even just bring that up on screen while I talk about it. The first thing is that, like, I think it was back in December. Let me actually get that straight now because I forget when it actually came out. Or when. Yes, I accept your privacy. Oh, it was December. Okay. Like sometime in December. I feel like it was more than just him, but I guess he's the one that I found an article for.
Well, it's not much of an article. It's just essentially quoting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's an article quoting him. I mean, and it doesn't need to be more than that. But yeah, but the Evangelion creator Hideaki Anno mentioned that he's against. Well, I guess this says it, most of it, that he's against adapting anime for Western audiences, and they should adapt to us. And I'm trying to remember if there was more elaboration to this. I mean, here's some quotes here, I guess. Not even quotes, just like summations of what he's trying to say. Okay, before I say anything, thoughts on just that concept overall, what his messaging is there.
I mean, I don't mind with the idea of like anime for the Japanese.
I mean,
it's their particular form of cartooning essentially. So
it's one of those like whole cultural identity things.
Mm-hmm.
If I to put it, is the fact that by adapting it to a different culture, it removes part of their identity.
Well, it's also a question of what are we talking about in terms of adaptation? Like, are we talking about adaptation at inception versus through the translation?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't even think that was the other things I was hoping there'd be elaboration on, but
well, yeah, there isn't. There isn't like what's the context is, what he's talking about. It's like it's almost a question of whether or not the question itself was properly, translated to him so he could convey what he meant by it.
So some of the quotes he's saying is that I'll read here. Like, anime should be made for Japanese people. He wasn't thinking about foreign audiences when he was making Evangelion, or the movies at least. This is directly talking about movies, but I assume it means all his work for the most part.
Yeah.
Works created through Japanese thinking are hard to understand in other languages, but we can't adapt them. We're sorry, but we ask audiences to adapt to us.
Well, here's the thing. I think there's also an economic aspect to this. Do I need to elaborate?
Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead. I thought you were going to elaborate.
Okay, what I
Yeah,
mean
please.
is that, okay, it isn't just necessarily the idea of like, oh, we're constructing Japanese media to be consumed by Japanese people first and foremost. In some ways, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Mhm.
Is the idea is that if they consider the economic support of their own people for the support of their own art form first, and consider, the support from outside of Japan as just simply profit, pure profit, whether it's accepted, whether it isn't, but rather the idea that if it's acceptable inside Japan and it has support within inside Japan, that's what they merit off of. The idea is that they don't need necessarily to like you've seen how many times Hollywood has gone out of its way to try to get the Chinese audience
Right.
and fail.
Sometimes.
Yeah, any Chinese film beats out the American film almost 99 out of 100.
Ah.
I would say so. If we look at the numbers, we look at the reception.
Okay, you're just talking about within China.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense.
And the problem is that how much of this, like, adaptation and trying to chase after the Chinese audience, the Chinese money, and whatever you want to say, on a global scale, ultimately undermines the fact of whether or not the media is economically supported by our own country.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean.
Like, if it was supported by us first and foremost, like it was made for us, and then, they tried to get, extra money for it. It's
Right.
also a question of whether or not, the goals even exist for that. Because, like, if you get in the mindset of it, like telling some creative that they have to adapt for half a dozen cultural standards, it can get pretty bogged down in some things. It's like, we've seen tons of these actually examples.
Shoot, give me some examples.
I don't know. It's
Oh,
like, first of all, there's like how the Pixar films adapt themselves specifically to be more relatable in certain countries, such as like, I know that this was an example for what was the stupid one with the inside the head,
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah. The one where the emotions have
Yeah.
have characters.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Inside Out.
The I'm not eating this food scene, or like what they put on top of the pizza,
Mhm.
depends upon which country it is.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
They went out of their way to essentially reanimate the thing so it is specifically curated to each country.
Yeah, that's pretty try
Or
hard.
like, I think they actually did this with Zootopia. They ended up like changing the animal that like a news anchor is, just to
Ah,
have it be more like culturally relevant.
okay, yeah, that's
But that's
pretty.
sort of like
That's
adapting the art to the audience.
yeah, that's pretty try hard. I see what you mean there.
It's understandable to be polite, but it's also a question of how far politeness has to go in terms of like destroying the creative vision in some ways.
I think in those cases, it's not even about a politeness. I think it's just them trying to like squeeze another another dollar out of the whole system they're a part of.
Well, how much of this is, as I said, there's the economic issue, which I think of when I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking of like making Japanese anime for the Japanese, is that if it's supported by the Japanese, then it's fine. You can think of, if anybody else likes it, it's just pure profit. Don't worry about it.
Right. Although realistically, I can't imagine is contemporary Japanese anime studios are thinking that way. They can't be. I mean, if I would agree, it'd be nice if they
I would
did,
think,
but I
well,
can't
first of all,
can't imagine they
it's
are.
not like Sony Jump as far as I know, the Shonen Jump, even though we've had like multiple web services that allows you to like get Shonen Jump digitally translated almost within hours of the new chapters being released.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any sort of like questionnaire for foreign audiences that, unlike actual real paper made Shonen Jump has, that you can
Right.
mail in, and people do still.
Yeah, I mean, but other than probably some like very basic generic feedback system, if that at all. Yeah, I see what you mean.
I don't know if there is. That's the thing. Like, what would the rankings be if suddenly the foreign audience started coming in and
Right.
deciding which one it is and which one isn't succeeding?
Yeah, at the same time, the like the reason I say one of the reasons I can quote is that they don't not care. Like all the times they go after like pirate sites, block pirate sites for lack of a better term. Or like
Actually, it isn't the Japanese that are usually going after the pirate sites; it's the Koreans.
Yeah,
because they have a very harsher view on it.
Okay, I understood it that it was more than just them, but I don't even know what
it's mainly
to
the
search for
Koreans,
it.
specifically things like the ones like Naver and such, trying to go after pirate sites for hosting, like pay for manhwa and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No.
Like that's been essential. That's what has been the recent things.
You know, it'd be nice if there was a strong example of like of where when there was influence. Like I'm sure there is, there has to be, right? It's like it can't be non-zero. But it would be nice
I
if there was
think
like if
there's
there was an
probably a
example.
lot of conversations that people like Anno and Miyazaki have occasionally with, especially if they're talking to translators, translating their work. They probably do want to view and get a good idea of like, how are they translating this? Are they translating this as a Japanese person wants it represented, or are they translating it to be more acceptable to a Western audience? Like, let's face it, let's go with the easy and obvious thing: jelly donuts.
God.
And other sorts of like, translations, because this has been a constant issue since like the 1950s.
Although even the jelly donuts issue, I feel like we're beyond that at this point. Like that's not the norm anymore.
Are we? I don't think we are.
What's the example that's more contemporary than that?
Translators and localizers going out of their way to editorialize their the ability to state what how it's being represented. How is it that different in some ways?
There is a game company that's getting a lot of traction, even though it's been a long-standing game company, because some of the companies it's partnered with to do the localization have, as they put it, impeached upon their creative design of the game by changing dialogue. And that company is known as Nihon Falcom. And if you're wondering what games these are the Trails in the Sky series, which was done by Xseed. Xseed is, as of currently, only holding the rights because Nihon Falcom will not deal with them again. They are having issues with Marvelous. They are having issues with NISA, or Nippon Ichi Software America, because of some of these almost inconsequential changes to the dialogue that the localizers did, that Nihon Falcom was like, no, we did not want that. Admittedly, their latest one, Gung Ho Entertainment, is under fire for a different reason. But it is, it's one of those situations of like, Nihon Falcom is a long-standing game company, but they were never a big thing in the West. But once they started getting some of their games out West that were getting traction, they're like, cool, great, this is amazing. And then when they started learning that some of the dialogue that was put into the games, they're like, that's not the character I wrote. What are you talking about? They started looking into it and felt like some of the changes made were not done with their supervision. And this
In
is
other
why
words,
Nihon...
it was a thing of like, yes, we licensed it out, and yeah, the numbers look good, but they weren't looking at it critically with the idea of like, what exactly was it and how it was adapted.
Yeah.
Like,
And
what
these
happens
aren't
instead
like...
of having a character, um, sincerely say goodbye to somebody, end up making a quippy joke instead.
Well, it's like... And this is where it gets a bit weird, is the fact that they didn't touch the major characters.
Well, it's sort of hard to change that because that would require changing the game in some places.
Yeah. But they were changing certain characters to say... very risky, like... If our good friend Fates was here, he'd probably bring up... Oh god, what was the company that did Lunar for PlayStation? Was it Codemasters?
Creative design? I don't know.
I'm gonna double check, but apparently some of the dialogue that got changed was changed to be a little bit more raunchier than it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just one of those situations of like, some other companies have been going like, maybe we don't need localizers because we have this amazing tool that translates for us. Doesn't do it well though.
No.
But it's one of those situations of the whole localization thing has been, at least from some Japanese perspective, that the lesser of evils in trying to get their games outside of Japan if they want to get them outside of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are some games, some game companies that people are like, oh man, I really wish this came stateside. And the game company is like, nah.
It's nah.
This was made for Japanese audiences. It's that we see no potential of... we see no financial potential outside of Japan for this type of game. And those ones are like, okay, now you have to either buy the game and hope somebody is working on fan translation, or learn Japanese.
Yeah.
Which we do have a mutual friend who tells me all the time, like, why wait for fan translation? Just learn Japanese. It's like,
easier said than done.
Yeah.
As someone who has tried to learn Japanese and still am trying, easier said than done.
I would say the real difficulty is not just simply learning Japanese, it's actually learning some of the colloquial aspects of Japanese.
Right. 100.
Some of like the context things, because I actually brought this up like recently, at least in a couple of months, talking about how a character actually chose to be very literal and pretty oblique about what they were talking about and how they were talking about it. And it's like, maybe this is a sort of very Japanese thing, where their frankness is trying to actually demonstrate sincerity, where usually they rely on high context things to sort of say something without saying it directly.
Mm-hmm.
By saying it frankly, there's a sort of innotation of like, look, this is my honest feelings, or something like that. That's sort of implied, that would be understood by a Japanese person, because that's how a Japanese person would think of such an action.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sort of hard to gauge whether that would be accurate.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine localization teams have to work hard to make that quote unquote translate when it comes to...
And here it is, working designs.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to bring up probably the one person that had a heavy influence on both translations and localizations, our boy, Ted Woosley.
Who's that again?
He was
I
the
know that.
translator for Final Fantasy VI.
Okay.
He was literally a translator hired by Squaresoft of America
Mm-hmm.
to translate their games.
Okay.
And he was given a bit of time for Final Fantasy VI or 3, if you're going by the SNES numbering.
Right.
But the reason why I bring him up is he's in the same vein of Infamous, as people praise him for bringing life to a character who was quite literally, in the original Japanese, laughably evil. We're talking like Dick Dastardly, twirl me mustache evil.
Mm-hmm.
Into a very, very threatening presence. That is Kefka.
Right.
But in the same vein that he's praised for it, there is obviously the group of people saying that Ted Woosley ruined the game because he did not translate 1-1.
Are the current translations of that game still based on his work, or have they been redone?
I think they kept some of them specifically because
they kept some of them, not all of them. I think the recent I think the Pixel remaster uses a bit of the GBA translation, retranslation, but they also kept a majority of the big ones that Ted Woosley did.
Like I still haven't played 6 yet myself. Still have not. It's on my to do. Want to do it one day. I still haven't done it, but I currently know a couple of people who are playing that game right now, and yeah, they always rave about Kefka particularly, and it's just curious. It's like I don't know what kind of Kefka they're post this conversation. I don't know what Kefka they're talking about now.
Okay, so in this case, in the original Japanese, and this is kind of like like Ted Woosley made Kefka more threatening, and this is why in later versions the Japanese adapted Ted Woosley's version of Kefka for every other future version if he shows up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those, like, he is kind of influential, but he's also one of those people that quite literally, he was in the Wild West of translating.
Right. Especially those days.
In those days where it's like, he had to make, like, his own versions of things, like, in the original Super Nintendo version, where Kefka curses, he puts Son of a Submariner instead of what you would normally expect. I think the retranslation put it as son of a desert dog, which no, it doesn't hit the weird psychotic goofiness that is Son of a Submariner.
Right? Like the unhingedness of it.
But at the same time, it's one of those situations that, without Ted Woosley being there, showing that, hey, they're like you can't, like, translations or introducing us to these games, we might have gotten something way worse, or JRPGs would have been like a while before they started hitting the States, because like nobody wanted to play a JRPG because everybody initially took the whole Dragon Quest 1 or Dragon Warrior and were like, look how bad the sales are. Nobody's interested in JRPGs. Nobody.
I feel like this conversation we still have these days.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little different, but some people still like RPGs.
RPGs, but those are my bread and butter. But I've seen some people who have gone in, done a and basically did a localization and added flares to characters that did not need them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, let's say one character is a pretty frank, blunt character but it's one of those they're just a general okay but blunt character. And then they add in
Wait, they're making another one?
making another one. What?
Another one this.
Oh boy. Basically they dial up the whole bluntness to a degree where it's like, oh, they're no longer blunt, they're more of insulting blunt. And people are like, but that's not the character anymore. That's just one noting them instead of keeping some of the depth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that. Um, and so people are going like, hey, because with and this is the thing that has been going for a while now, that is now kind of catching up to people, is that the localizers were just hired. They had no oversight from the Japanese, because like most of the time, while the Japanese technically do learn English, most of the time when they get into the working force, they either don't keep up with it, or if they do, it's like at uh, a
Right.
low level.
Yeah.
And so initially it's like somebody would hand a script back, and if they didn't have a translator, they'd find the best person in the office who had a good understanding of English, which may not be that. And if the person was actually passionate about it, they'd look it over, maybe point things out. But most of the time, the guy would look over and it's like, this looks okay.
Yeah. Roll
This
the
looks like
dice.
English. This is grammatical English, I guess.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
guess. And then to hand it back, not knowing that, like, oh, hey, they just handed back like a script that turned one character into an annoying Navi-like character.
Mm.
Or that. Whereas, like, in like Ted Woosley's day, they literally just handed him a script, told him to translate it to the best of his ability, and get everything done in a set time frame. Nowadays, with a lot of companies wanting a bit more oversight into projects like this, especially if they're big budget projects,
Yeah.
some of the bigger companies are hiring people who have an understanding of English to act as a liaison and double check the work with the localizers. Other
Which is
companies
best practice. Honestly, that should be best
should
practice.
be best practice. Should be best practice, but there's been a couple of times where somebody swapped the script last minute and did not get approval from it, but it got shipped out. Those ones are very rare, but it has happened because some people have found by data mining the script that was originally determined to be in there
Mm-hmm.
versus the updated script that it got shipped out with, because it got left in the code. Or comparing it to the original Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's gotten to the point of some of the bigger companies are like looking towards, is there a way we can do this in-house without trying to hire this team that's we have a very little oversight to, or may submit something last minute that gets implemented that we don't want.
Yeah, that would be ideal. It's I'm surprised. Even contemporarily speaking, it still feels weird that a lot of that stuff isn't more in house.
Well, and that's the thing, is that like if a company does want to do it in house, this is kind of where it gets a bit more problematic. Is that they may be handing it off to that same guy that goes, oh hey, I know English good. And then we get stuff like Robot Alchemic Drive.
Yeah.
Which,
Well, even that's a crap job, so that almost doesn't count. Like we should be considering a serious effort making it in house, not like give it to the intern.
Demonstrates some of the further problems of just simply getting like the voice actors and that online, because like I believe the original Resident Evil voice cast was directed by somebody who doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
So that's why some of the deliveries sound weird, because they make sense to a Japanese person. They don't to an English speaker.
You were almost a jiggle sandwich.
It's not just simply that; it's the tonality of it, in a sense.
Yeah.
I mean, there obviously. I would think in that case you would either have to have someone who actually knows how to dip a toe in each world, so to speak, or
well, it would need to be a proper team effort
with
like multiple writers to put it down, and simply because it would be the skill of like words and wordplay and like context and such, especially across both Japanese and English or whatever language they wanted to translate it to. And it does cost a fair amount to actually get talented writers, I would say, especially those that are skilled in not only English but Japanese. There's a reason why there's a thing called light novels in Japan. It's because actually being a bit of a wordsmith in Japanese takes a bit of effort. It's not as simple as you would think. With like 20,000 kanji.
Right. I can only imagine. Okay, well, to circle back a little bit to the thesis of like what's being said here specifically. Like I agree with the sentiment of what's being said here, that like these creatives shouldn't like compromise the creative approach in any regard, not just that of foreign people, but even just like unnecessary oversight or like just I don't know trying to follow a fad or something like that, right? In all these different cases, yeah, like we shouldn't mess with the creative process, like outside of like reasonable terms and limits and whatever you want to call that stuff. Like there's other reasonable examples, but like in general, let the creators be creative. So in essence, I don't disagree with anything that's being said here, and especially because since anime is unique in the way it is, I think even Western audiences would like that identity to be kept in there, right? Ideally,
yeah.
Asterisks, because again, we're not the ones dictating anything, and even in this case, even though they're not considering foreign audiences, they are obviously taking like foreign influences in some other respect. They're just, I guess, in their way, they're saying here is they're not necessarily like making a decision based on what they think foreign audiences are going to do, which is fine. I think that's fine. The only thing I would say even sort of in contrast to this, not even really to this, but maybe just like a related idea, is that, and I don't think this is what they were getting at. At least these two, right? I wouldn't like Western audiences to be dismissed. Like as a consumer of these media, I wouldn't want to be outright dismissed. Like again, they don't have to take my input on their creative process, but like I wouldn't want to be completely dismissed either. But especially if they plan to sell it to us, right? Which if anything, that might circle back to the localization stuff we were talking about. That might be the place that needs a little more TLC, honestly, more than anything else. But and maybe you could even say that the lack of TLC is maybe like somewhat dismissal over the years. Hopefully not, but maybe it's just that's maybe I can only imagine that process is hard already, but maybe it's even harder than we're giving it credit for here. But yeah, long story short, I agree with the sentiment. I just hope it's not translating to outright dismissal.
It's also part of the things of, I hate bringing this up, with a lot of Japanese studios getting commissions from Western investors like Netflix.
Oh yeah, that's almost going to translate here in a bit.
Is that basically there's this whole aspect of that puts Netflix in as an investor, and we all know what investors do, which is they fuck around with the art process.
Right.
And I'm not saying like, oh, all investors are bad. It's like, welcome to economics, the most complicated system we humans invented.
Yeah.
Right
up there.
But there are aspects I would probably say an investor has a right to voice a suggestion, but the artist and the creatives have the right to refuse it.
Right. 100%.
But generally,
Yeah,
as some people will probably point out, oh, so that means that the investor has the right to pull out all of their funding.
I mean, yeah, I guess. It seems counterproductive, but
admittedly, it depends on what the reason why the investor is doing it. Like, if they are investing because, oh, hey, I see potential in getting my earnings back by investing into the studio, but I don't really have anything else to say. It's like, okay, cool, great. That's the type of
even
investor I like because
that's all case by case too, right? I guess.
yeah.
Even when it comes to Netflix and Mappa, which is like what else this translates to ultimately, is that yeah, there's a lot to be fearful with that. I think I mean, maybe not fearful, too strong a word, but it doesn't immediately elicit like a hell yeah out of anybody or most people. I think maybe
There's a bit of
like
apprehension with it.
Apprehension. That's a great way of putting it. Like on one hand, I'm happy for Mappa potentially because it should mean that they get more money in their pocket, more development, more teams. It should translate to more on their end. That's what it should translate to, ideally, right?
We hope.
But also, yeah, there's also the always the business risk of Netflix meddling more than they should, or trapping things behind Netflix walls forever and ever, et cetera, et cetera. Like, we only have it all. We have only so little idea of what ultimately Netflix is going to affect Mappa, and by proxy, even anime in general, just because Mappa is not like a small place, right? On the other hand, when the next best thing, or maybe the best thing currently, is Crunchyroll, it's hard to not go like, oh, I hope this other idea is better. The way Crunchyroll's dropped the ball so many times. Yeah, right. Ultimately, Sony
site will become an anime streaming service.
It's just like Crunchyroll and Sony have it so easy. It feels like they have it so easy, and all they have to do so much to make this whole thing work, and they seem to like half the time make the worst decision possible, and the other half just barely getting by.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's hard not to be like hope. Yeah. So it's like hard not to be hopeful that Netflix and Mappa working together means something with a net good. Even with that apprehension, that apprehension is almost distilled by the fact that on the other hand we have Crunchyroll, and it's like, well, that's not the best we could do. So maybe this other thing will do.
The hope of Crunchyroll was to have a legal way to watch anime in the West, and hopefully translate some of that money into supporting the creative side of the studios and such. Unfortunately, that's been sort of, let's be honest, not really true.
Yeah. Right. Which sucks. But, you know. I mean, that also kind of goes back to the Japanese studios. I mean, maybe it was a different time back then, so maybe they little options. But nowadays, you would hope, like, well, can they not take more of a direct hand in all this, so they don't have to deal with places like Crunchyroll? So it all of a sudden had to funnel into Crunchyroll. I guess that's a problem here with us, right? Is that Crunchyroll basically is in charge of how we got our anime for the most part. With a small percentage also going to Netflix, small percentage also going to High Dive by comparison. So it seems sketch that they dictate how we consume our anime solely on their own.
Well, I would probably posit when it first started out, Crunchyroll had a huge selection that basically it's like, oh, hey, it's on this, it's on that. But as more and more companies notice that, not in just the streaming aspect, but the whole, hey, people are signing up to this weird company called Crunchyroll for Japanese animes. Oh, I want a part of that. So now it's boiled down to, it's no longer just Crunchyroll versus what little else everybody has. It's Netflix, Disney versus
Oh yeah, I forgot
Crunchyroll.
Disney too. Yeah.
And so, and basically because like Disney owns Hulu, that's where like Hulu exclusives on, no, they're Disney technically.
I mean, they're
Hey.
eventually going to discontinue Hulu, so
Yeah.
because it's essentially competing with their Disney Channel.
Yeah.
And so basically, High Dive was technically, if I recall correctly, a splinter cell from some of the people that originally founded Crunchyroll that left it because they did not like what the direction that they were going, so they made High Dive.
High Dive's
And
great, if you
it's
ask
kind of
me.
it. Here's the sad part: is the fact that Netflix and Disney have been buying out some of the bigger ones, leaving Crunchyroll to go like, Sony, can I have XXXXX series, please? You can have this one and that one, but the other two, I kind of made a promise to Netflix to give them that one. It's like, can you renegotiate the contract to allow me to have it as well? Okay, Crunchyroll. And then here's High Dive in the corner going like, I'm going to steal the series from everybody else. And nobody's looking at the series that they're about to take. Because it's a series that is hyper niche and nobody else is willing to touch it because it's not family friendly.
Well, it's either not family friendly or it's so unhype in a sense. Like,
I mean, High Dive did get Oshinoko. That was a home run for it.
Yeah.
Well, it's
So
like also like Don't Bully Me Nagatoro ended up being like in 3 different streaming services for the longest time.
I believe so. Let me bring
Is
up
it?
my High Dive account. Uh So let's see what we have. Double checking to see what they currently have or what they have, and
Yeah,
Call
they
of
have
the
about
Night.
like, yeah, I love that one. Yep, that's another big one.
Yeah, Call of the Night. That one was a good one. I think there were some people who were interested in Chain Soldier, but those are the same people that liked Akagami Got Killed because it's from the same author.
Oh yeah, Chain Soldier's excellent.
But it's like some of the other ones that, oh yeah, they took over Food Wars because quite literally Crunchyroll dropped Food Wars because it wasn't doing as well. But High Dive is also picking up some of the older series like Panzer World Gallant or Pat Labor.
Yeah, I hope High Dive's doing good because I think they're a good. They think they're a great site, and I hope they're like doing well enough to keep afloat. I have no idea what their finances are like, but I like what they do over there.
From my understanding, High Dive is doing decent enough, but with some of their revamping of their streaming services, I can tell you at least one person is not happy because they took away a lot of the features that they liked, and while they've added some of those features back in, some of the other features that they were hoping to be added back in have yet to be added back in.
What features?
Like,
I don't even think I remember what features were removed.
initially when they redid the entire site, they removed the ability to set the coloration and backshadow of the subtitles. This would probably not have affected you, Eddie.
Yeah.
Which, that's back in. But the major feature that the friend of ours, because he's a friend of yours too, Eddie.
Yeah,
you join us one of these days.
I get what you mean. Every time you've said that, I have picked up on what you mean. Who you mean.
In this case, the one major feature is that when you complete an episode, if you've never watched the series before, you can at least easily tell which episode you watched last.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're rewatching the series, it doesn't tell you what was the last episode you watched.
Yeah, that's annoying. That's a little quality of life they should probably fix at some point.
That's a quality of life that they had, and now it's gone.
Yeah, that's weird.
Because
I agree.
From my understanding, High Dive is doing decently enough, but they are also kind of picking up the scraps left over from the other three. For current airing season, because if Disney doesn't pick it up, or Netflix doesn't pick it up, or Crunchyroll doesn't pick it up, High Dive may pick it up if it shows at least some level of interest that some people have.
I mean, they get good stuff. Like right now, they're running what's it called? Dust Beyond the End of the World. Like that's a really good one. So like they pick up some really good ones from time to time.
They do. Like Call of the Night is I mentioned that one because I really liked that one.
Yeah. Hey, and then you can't forget Mr. Girlfriend. That was a hit, right, guys?
I'm going to punch you, Eddie. So hard.
It was a train wreck.
That's insulting the poor train wrecks out there. Anyway, what else did we have? I guess because we were talking about anime, we could finally bring up the last point you had here.
What was the last point I had? I forget. I thought we were out of points.
JJK episode scores.
Oh, okay. I guess that is sort of related to this. We could do it. We could talk about it because I don't think we're gonna stream today because something came up that after we're done recording, we have to take care of it anyway. So we're probably not gonna stream today. So just talk about it. Tax stuff. I'm telling you, it's So yeah, we absolutely have time to talk about it. Okay, so yeah, so what this has to do is that I think when episode 3 and 4 of this season came out, this currently running season came out. Let's see, what can I put in the background? I don't even know what to put in the background of this. What can I play in the background?
I don't know. You could try to find clips from either episode. Is it episode 2 and episode 3, or is it episode 3 and episode 4?
Okay, this should do. there's some stuff randomly happening in the background here, so this will do.
Well, it's talking about what you should be prepared for to remember going into season 3.
Yeah. Anyway, the whole setup here is that in episode 3 got like high ratings. Here, well, sorry, no, got it backwards. Here, like if you look at IMDb, episode 3 got lower than average ratings because it was the episode that was just a TED Talk. And then episode 4 was highly rated because it was like an extended episode with a lot of like action and stuff going on. I won't spoil anything. And the stuff that was coming out at the time was Japan had sort of the reverse reaction to it. Well, I think first it was a lot of people going like, yeah, of course the foreign audience didn't care for the talking episode and gave it an unfair low score, which I agree with. It should have been a higher score. but I think once the next episode was highly rated, I think people were talking about like some people were rating it poorly in spite of the prior episode being rated poorly because it's like two contrasting episode types.
I don't know. Half the problem is I actually reread Jujutsu Kaisen recently, like today.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, episode 4 is literally only like 3 or 4 chapters in the manga. What you essentially saw was actually an extended cut of what was going on, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the entire fight scene against the non-curse user army, the force that Maki was part of before she started attending Jujutsu High.
Right.
That took only like two pages.
Panels? Oh, okay.
It wasn't very long for her to eliminate.
Yeah, I mean that's typical for animes to extend scenes like that.
Yeah, well, it's like what would only need to like a couple panels to express like what is going on. Oh hey, these characters. But it's a matter of like how the choices of like how to animate certain things and scenes. And I'm just gonna say it. I wasn't really impressed with the animation in like episode 4. Yes, it was well done. Yes, it was like had some point to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it also just sort of like felt like senseless violence.
In a show with a lot of violence.
Well, yes. Maybe that was sort of the theme that they were going with, because it was like, you know, why did, the Zenin family have to, shit on Maki because of her heavenly restriction thing?
Right.
Same with, obviously, Fushiguro's dad. But it's a thing of like, I don't know.
I would probably say, like, from my perspective, is that a lot of the Japanese fans were like, "Oh, sweet, we get actually like." Because the whole thing of like when they were explaining the rules of the calling game,
Mm-hmm.
that is set up. That is quite literally,
Right.
you have to know those rules, because without them, you don't know why the characters are discussing them about how do we set up a new rule to circumvent that rule. Without knowing that,
it was super important. All that was super important.
Well, it's also super important for trying to establish the fact that they don't actually know what the motive per se for Kenjaku going into it is. Like, what's the point of the calling game? They presume that it has to do with like merging of Tengen with humanity.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, was there a question about it? They sound pretty sure about that in that episode.
Well, yeah, but there's always a question of like exactly why is he wanting to do that more than just simply he wants to do it.
Sure. I mean, I get that. I'm sure there'll be some reckoning with that at some point. Yeah. I mean, I thought both episodes were really good. Both episodes were really good. So, like,
I thought the action one was kind of okay. I was more waiting for, when Maki went up against her own father, because that was he had it coming.
But that wasn't her father.
Oh, was it? I thought it was.
Oh,
Yeah, it was.
Well, are you talking about the swordsman? Because the swordsman was Maki's father.
Yeah, the swordsman.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was waiting for that fight versus the whole the sorcerer army thing, which
yeah, but it's equally fast in both the manga and the anime. It's like it's over in a second.
Yeah. But it's one of those things of like, I know for a factor that there's a lot of people who hate the like they expect Jujutsu Kaisen to be less talking heads and more action packed, and no, it's kind of always had that aspect of essentially the talking heads aspect, because of like discussing the various aspects of like how sorcery works, the conditions, things of that nature. And the whole thing of the rule set up for the calling game. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's all super fascinating. Yeah,
it's super they did a good job of animating it to keep it interesting versus
yeah, I thought that episode went by really fast. Like, I couldn't believe it was over when the episode was finally done. I was like, oh wow, it's already done.
Yeah. But I know there's some people who watch anime for the fight scenes, and only for the fight scenes, because like, oh, well, Naruto was full of fight scenes. Like, there were a couple episodes Naruto had of just talking heads. I don't know what you.
I mean, a lot of animes have talking head segments because, like, the entire idea of saving animation budget, of just simply having some lip flaps and things like that, is a pretty common methodology. The reason why I think that episode 3 is actually really good is that it actually does things with its like talking head episodes that it could be very boring, but decide to at least try to do some interesting like scene transitions, movements, characterization, even though it's like essentially a bunch of people in a room.
But
yeah, I don't think it has to take away from the 4th episode either, though.
Yeah.
For all the praise I have for the 3rd, the 4th episode was good in its own right.
It's kind of leading into the whole thing of like, everybody has their own tastes, and to me, I liked both episodes. Admittedly, I liked the explanations of the rules because it actually made it a bit more clear, because like when I read the manga chapter, I had to read it twice to get an understanding, because like this is something that happened in episode 6, which have they done an English version of episode 6?
Not yet. No, only the 5th episode came out today.
Okay, I'm gonna hold is the 5th one the one where they're going back with Itadori and
Fushiguro,
the Fight Club,
trying to
the Fight Club. Okay.
Yeah.
You did they show? Did you get to the scene where it's basically Itadori and Gin talking in the
in the room at the top floor? Yeah.
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 That was really annoying in the manga. I love what they did in the anime for that one, and that one was purely talking heads too.
Yeah, but I feel like they actually did a lot of rotoscoping for that.
Yeah, but
feels like it, right? It looked so really different from the rest of the episode, in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. But from what I recall of the manga, and I'm pretty sure MPX may
It's
collaborate.
actually not as confusing as you would think in the manga, but then again, it's also a thing of that this is the first real time you're talking to this character. So.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, if I remember the manga, he used a lot of various angles in that, and it kind of got me a bit confused. During that scene, whereas in the anime, Gin's on one side, Itadori's on the other. You know who's talking, and you can easily follow their conversation. And I thought that little tiny bit of where it's just Itadori and Gin talking to each other was really good, but I know people out there probably watched that and it was like, can we get to the fighting, please?
I mean, there's always, like you said, there's always going to be people like that. I don't know if it represents the majority, but there's definitely people like that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that, like, you can't enjoy it, like, everything has to be action scenes or everything has to be talking heads. There's always got to be a decent mix in order to enjoy something, because you can't be revving your engine at max revolutions all the time, and you can't be running them, or you can't have the engine running at very low because maybe you have to keep things have to speed up to use an engine analogy. Gotta have those highs and lows in order to not only keep the reader interested, but allow them to absorb some of the information and keep up with you, keep things straight in their head. Admittedly, I've also been reading the follow-up series of Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo, which that's a different can of worms, and I'm not sure if they will adapt that.
I mean, if it's going to make them money, they might. I mean, if we got Boruto, I wouldn't put it past it.
Well, Modulo
Boruto exists.
Technically, Modulo is by the same creator of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's just that he's technically creating it, and it's going to be ending soon, as kind of like a epilogue series / here's some like answering some of the big leftover questions from the original ending. So I can't.
I would be
really
surprised I'd be surprised if they don't adapt it. I don't know a lot about it. That some creators I follow end up talking about it, so I've heard things already. You know, it was unavoidable, unfortunately. But yes, I can't. As long as JJK continues to be successful, I can't imagine them not adapting that too. Again, we live in a world with Boruto, so you know if that exists, why can't the JJK follow up?
The difference is Modulo can be adapted into like a season.
Yeah, from the way everything looks like, Modulo is probably going to be adapted into a season, and the creator he has stated he's not going to try and continue it. He's going to finish it out. We've only got maybe 3 or 4 chapters left, and that's it. He's going to move on to a completely different project.
An extra season would be fine. I think that's fine. Plenty of shows that are only quote unquote 1 season long, so that's fine. Anyway, that's way in the future. I mean, I think we still got like two seasons worth of material at least before we get there. Maybe probably more than that. I don't know how many chapters JJK is in total.
Depending on how they handle some of the action scenes, because spoilers, the calling game is the final act, essentially. The final major arc.
No. The calling game is the penultimate act.
Right.
I'm not going to say what the final act is.
Oh.
I know what it is, but yeah, we don't need to say it. Again, I couldn't avoid everything.
It's pretty obvious, but still.
Yeah.
Kind of bringing off this, are we gonna try and do another like anime recommendation stream soon, or?
We should. It's just that, I haven't thought about it, but maybe we can talk about that offline and see if we do that at some point. We should.
Well, we're going to have to do it at the next time we do a podcast. But yeah, let's start getting some ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're at an hour and 45. This is definitely one of our longer episodes, but it's okay. That's fine. We had a lot to talk about. And again, I had nothing else to do because we're not going to stream after all today, so, so that's fine.
I'm sorry it took so long about griping about Metroid Prime.
Yeah, your nitpickiness about Metroid took us over the edge, but that's okay. That's fine. It's all good. Okay, so we'll cap it here today. We'll be back with more podcast episodes eventually. At least every other week, I think. I think we've been pretty good about that since I've been healthy again. So, normally you can catch me Tuesdays and Thursdays, with this being the exception. So sorry in the future if you didn't see a Thursday stream. My bad. But you can catch Asher on Fridays. So if you're listening to this at some point, remember Friday. Go watch Asher. But with that, we are done. So thanks everybody. We will see you on stream or next time we have an episode. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.